You're listening to the Sherock podcast series with our host, Piwe Mwabe of South Africa, and our guest, Gideon Ejai-Mautor, gender specialist and research analyst at the Apeye Innovation Studios, Ghana.
We're discussing about what is the aim and what is Sherock about.
So Sherock is a female acceleration program. That means that it's a program that is meant to be a capacity building venture to help women broaden their skill base and make them more visible to prospective employers and also to themselves if they wish to be entrepreneurs as well. It provides mentorship, digital training, and other soft skills such as confidence building, ways of negotiation in the workplace.
Interesting, very interesting. So, what informed the AI's decision to look into the plight of professional women taking a break from work life?
So one can say, looking at our volunteer program that we started with since we are in June, we realized that during this COVID era, a lot of women have taken a break because they had to go on lockdown, and some had anxieties about coming back to work, and others had totally lost their jobs and still had the same anxiety about getting back into their work places and or in their careers. So we tend to think that make this correlation or this connection with people who go off work to do for childbearing purposes or for family purposes or anything like that, and the anxiety they also go through when they are getting back into the workforce. And it's like this is an issue that cuts across all women, depending on whatever class they are. Most people go through these stages where they get off or lay back a bit to take care of family matters or for childbearing purposes. And then getting back to work becomes difficult because then there's no confidence as in whether their skills are still relevant.
You know, you talk about anxiety. You know what's so strange is that I think it was a couple of weeks ago I was listening to the news, and now they were saying that the pregnancy rate has gone up due to the lockdown.
Ooh,
yes, in South Africa. Yes, interesting. So now, when I just remembered that last week, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I think Sherock is gonna be a program that's gonna be needed after this, because if pregnancy rate is up here in South Africa, it means all around Africa lockdown did have a sort of impact. So I was quite happy that the project is still gonna there's a future and a possibility for it being prolonged, maybe it running into next year maybe. So I know it's a bit off, but yeah. So anyway, let's move on. Okay, after are professional women in crisis, especially during the era of COVID?
Yeah, it's interesting because during this era of COVID, what happens is that most private companies and some governmental sectors are actually laying off workers. And interestingly enough, because most of these fields are still male dominated, when employers want to lay off workers, what they do is that they lay off their female workers, since they thought that traditionally women take care of their families and do child and care work actually. So it wouldn't really destabilize them. Their men would be working anyways and bringing them remunerations. So professional women are having crisis during this corona or COVID period, because then the patriarchal nature and system already puts them at a disadvantage. And by still doing layoffs tend to affect women more disproportionately than men. The more women are actually laid off than men are when people want to cut back on remuneration or want to cut back on workers. So it's really a daunting problem for professional women. They are the first to get the axe.
Yeah. This is so sad because it's just a reminder that patriarchy exists in Africa.
Yeah.
It's just not maybe in Ghana. It's everywhere. The important the predominance of gender roles also, that it's the woman that must take a break,
Yeah.
whereas both man and woman are married and share the same child. However, the woman is the one that has to sacrifice. So it really is a very tough situation when you think about it, and
Yeah,
quite sad for
and
women.
quite sad because, like you said, they are supposed to sacrifice. So, in fact, the women are forced to put their careers on hold. That's like the highest sacrifice they can give for the family, or for the stabilization of, for the good, for taking care of kids. You get it? So
Yeah.
it's still ingrained in the society. So even though you could find people or women who have actually risen high, there's always that thing that at the back of society's minds, actually, that if anything happens, of course the woman should step down and and then leave the man to actually flourish in whatever endeavor he is partaking in. It's really sad.
It,
So
it, it is.
I think it's much more. We have to really do much more sensitization actually to get people's mind out of that.
It is sad when you think about it, because I think also as a young woman, you tend to, when you get into the workspace, well, in South Africa, this is what the reason that they don't like hiring females is that they feel that young professionals get into the workspace, they get married in the first month, in the next 2 months the woman is pregnant, going on maternity leave, and now the male counterparts are stuck having to fill in the gap for the woman on maternity leave. And you find it puts pressure on women. They find themselves cutting their maternity leave short in order for their roles to be filled at work, because they also don't want to be jobless. And what men or the system doesn't understand is that not every female who has a baby has a supportive system, a supportive structure that at home the father of the child is present or available to assist them. Some of them are just by themselves, because here in South Africa we've got a high rate of single mothers. So it's for me, it's a very touchy, it's touchy and a very sensitive subject, especially because I'm a woman and I see the statistics of the number of single parents who are mothers in South Africa.
Yeah, I mean
It's,
your sentiments are actually valid, because I remember in the year 2017 there was this horse case in Ghana between three, that was amongst three fire service women and then the employer, which was the government's fire service. On the contract, one is not supposed to be pregnant after employment. One is not supposed to be pregnant after, before 2 years of your contract. And like after 2 years, you can get pregnant. That's actually what's on the books. And these women got pregnant before those 2 years, and so the Ghana Fire Service decided to terminate their contract and not employ them. So they took this to court. And actually, the interesting thing about this, the reason why I even remember this, because when I read it in the newspaper, they won their court case, and then they were told to rehire them, and that it was discriminatory for the Ghana Fire Service to terminate their contract just because they fulfilled abnormal biological aspects of life. And it was interesting for me to read at the time. I was like, okay, this is good news, but then it doesn't really cover up most of the things that other sectors still do. It means that still in the books, employees have this clause: if we are employed 2 years, you get pregnant 2 years before. Don't get pregnant before 2 years. That kind of clause. It still tells me that it's still there, but at least these three women got their day in court and won.
Oh my goodness, that's so scary and so unfair. Oh my goodness, I'm touched. I'm touched. I'm really touched. Yeah. So if I get an opportunity to work in Ghana and I find myself with a contract like that, do I sign such a contract? What do I do? That is so unfair.
also unfair.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So what skills do you intend to give your participants during these sessions?
First, we hope to equip them with digital skills, like new digital skills such as coding, web designing. Since most what is happening right now is everyone is automating and entering into technologies, so we think that it is also important that the emerging professional woman also gets hands-on these issues and these skills. We also hope to give them mentoring. We also hope to give them some mentoring skills, such that people in the sector that have already worked in the sector they are interested in or they are already in could lend in some advice, on way to proceed and how to move around the corporate world. It's going to be an interesting educational platform. And there's going to be a lot of soft skills, a lot of I think evaluation, negotiation skills. This is really important because there's this serious gender pay gap that is actually documented that women get paid lesser for the same job as men. And there's this thing being said that because women are a little bit relaxed and they do not go up and then confront their employers and say this is what they need. Okay, fine. We know that's nonsense, but if that's the case, then we're going to train women actually to speak up for themselves. Then you see the point exactly. Yeah. So these are some of the things that we.
How are your sessions relevant for today's working woman?
Oh, okay, sure. Oh, well, like I said, giving them the digital, especially digital skills, and why it's relevant is, as I said, we are automating. Everyone is getting onto using technologies and social media for advertising, for data analytics and stuff like that. And so, for it to be relevant, we need to give these women these skills as well to be able to assess the job market, to be able to be visible for employers, to see them as people who are actually prepared and necessary for whatever job that is available. So it's really relevant for the soft skills, as I already talked about, the fact that we give confidence, because some people have lost their confidence for being away from the workforce. So that confidence boosting is important. Also, the mentoring and then the solidarity with other women who are also in the same position also gives comfort and then shows the idea that they are not the only ones alone, that others are also going through that same struggle, and then everyone is rooting for them to actually come out of their shell. So the reason why this is relevant is because it's basically more of a women empowerment strategy, something that's supposed to propel women out of the cocoon that the system itself has tried to put them in by force. And so by force, women are also going to break this cocoon. Yeah.
I love the word you use, cocoon, because the next question is what we discussed, in earlier, is that during the lockdown, like I said, I was watching the news a couple of weeks ago, and then they were talking about the increase in pregnancy. So this just links, directs us to the next question. Where do you see the Sherock program going after its maiden sessions? Because right now it's changing. It's basically because of COVID-19. It's a different ball. It's a different ball game now. It's a game changer. There's a chances are very high of the program being needed to even next year, because what about these women who are pregnant in the lockdown right now during the crisis? What is going to happen to them? So where do you see the Sherock program going after its maiden session?
What we envision is actually to continue, and what I mean is that after this maiden session, we're hoping that women get empowered, and that the word goes out about this program and how effective it was for them. So we're expecting testimonies and word of mouth to actually bring a light on this program. We hope to see careers change. We hope to see people venture into spaces that they didn't think they could actually get into. And that alone also gives us confidence that we are doing something right. And with that also, it helps us also to create this bonding and networking between the participants and ourselves. We hope to get these participants to keep in touch. And here, what we mean is that when they get onto these sessions that we're going to create, we're going to ask them voluntarily if they would want to still keep in touch with people who have come for the program. And if they do, which means that what that means is that we're going to create some sort of platform where people can actually be on and then can exchange ideas and just be comforting when people go through crisis. And that form of solidarity between women, you see, and then between them and then we, the organizers, because what happens is that the fact that they can still connect with us tells them that it's more of a family and not just like a program, and you just get to take and then you paid and you left and that's it. We don't mind what goes on in your life. No, we want to bring this bond and this solidarity amongst participants and ourselves, and then with participants and themselves as well. So we hope to create a big family, a big platform, and then continue to do these sessions year in, year out, or even twice a year, 3 times a year, I should say, depending on how successful and then how the word of mouth goes out there.
Yes, you said something very powerful with regards to create like solidarity and a support structure, because earlier when we were talking about the gender roles, that some women don't have a husband to go to when they're pregnant or a partner that's present. Sometimes it's not a case of being married. Sometimes it's just a case of partners living in a different part of the world, having to not be physically present for the child or supporting the mother. So, Sherock just is going to kind of be there to just be there by supporting them, creating this platform to say, you're not alone. Because most women who go through this journey, I'm speaking based off in South Africa, what I've seen and what I've read is that you find that the rate of single women complaining of the lack of support, not even from the father of the children, however, families are not being supportive. So such structure, such programs are needed. Like when I think about it, like we need something like this in South Africa for the longest time. We actually need a program to be implemented to assist these women who feel alone during pregnancy, even after pregnancy. So we move over to the next question. Considering the toll of unpaid care work has on women in this COVID era, what measures do you have in place to help reduce their stress?
So, yes, we know that point in time, even during these sessions, women might be doing some certain care work, and so we don't want to take so much of their time, and we also don't want to burden them with a lot of skill update without any fun thing to relieve them of. So we plan on having some fun activities. Having some book readings where we come and share ideas about what we read. Some cooking classes, just to find out, get new dishes and try out new dishes and taste them. We'll just make fun and then just to create this to move this anxiety and this that this COVID has come with. This thing, when is this thing going? I don't know what is going on. There's nothing fun to do because you don't want to gather so many people at one place and then boom, we've got COVID. So what else can we do to actually alleviate the stress that comes with doing care work and then thinking about the impending doom of COVID? We thought probably some reading sessions, some cooking sessions. Yeah, we tend to put things on the lighter notes. Yeah.
Oh, that would be like amazing. Just because you're right, COVID came with a lot of anxiety for everyone. You know, there were times where I'd also literally be afraid of just walking outside because I'd feel like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna catch COVID. And it would be so scary because every time you'd return from the shops, you'd just self-diagnose. You'd automatically think you have it. You cough.
Exactly.
What
You cough and you're like, or you just sneeze and like, huh?
You just run and Google and check the symptoms, and you're like, what is happening to me? Because I'm coughing or what? So it does. We all need a stress reliever. Like I feel like we all need something to just distract ourselves from what COVID came with. So I think they'll enjoy that activity. And the last question is, okay, are there avenues to keep in touch with participants after their training sessions to assess the impact?
I already said people who are registering would be asked if they would actually want to be part of some sort of network group. So by doing that, I'm really very sure that most people would want to be part of a network group. And so doing that helps participants and ourselves be in touch to know what's going on in their lives, and what other career opportunities they've had, what other challenges they're having even in their personal lives as well, and how to maybe mitigate or find a way around some of these issues that come up. You know? So yeah, there's a way we want to create such a network, and that's what will create a family-like environment that we are trying to envision. That this is not just about just being trained; it's about finding who are passionate about the same issues, who are going through the same problems, and having a listening ear. To sometimes people just need to vent, need to just talk, and just having someone who understands that helps the most. You know? Yeah, so we hope to actually have such a platform for all these women and the participants who go session.
And it will. They are going to have a very strong network backing them up, especially in this time of this COVID era, you know, this pandemic. We have been feeling lonely. I won't lie myself. I felt the isolation, the restrictions, being away from friends. I felt it. So I can only imagine what these women are going through, just being by themselves with their kids, and ones who are living far from their families as well. So I believe this program is going to be a very impactful one. And thank you so much for today, Gideon.